Primary Colours are a Newcastle indie rock band that impressed me with Jam, a punchy and colourful EP that didn't just call back to 2000s indie rock, but also a fair amount of 90s Britpop too. And while I did like the songs on that EP, I guess I was hoping that along the way Primary Colours would eventually find an identity that was uniquely theirs, because their influences were just so very obvious. I still like the music, but I was just hoping that Primary Colours would eventually see maybe some kind of growth as they went on. And I do like the fact that on their newest EP here, Keyside, they don't necessarily change their sound, they just kind of improve it. The music sounds refined, punchier than before, slick, and also very consistent. That's the thing, this EP is very consistent compared to Jam. Jam was kind of them seeming to kind of dip their toes into a whole load of different waters. But here they seem to have found a sound and they've kind of stuck to it, at least for the length of this EP. Primary Colours present 4 very straightforward, cut the BS indie rock jams with infectious grooves, slicker and well-groomed instrumentals, and occasionally a very clear influence from punk rock music as well, most prominent on tracks like Just Words and Gums. Grooves are definitely a strong point for Primary Colours, especially on the track Symphony in G, which bops very hard thanks to the peppy guitar strums and the pacey drumming. My favourite track out of the 4 on this EP though would be Gums. It hits that sweet balance between jangly pop melodies and this grittier, heavier punk-inspired catharticism, but stays sounding just as catchy and upbeat and generally fun as Primary Colours have always been since days of Jam. And those days of Jam weren't that long ago, so yeah. I will admit that the opening track, Girl With No Name, does feature a leading riff that sounds a bit, I don't know how to describe it, kind of car commercial-esque. It sounds like something you'd hear in like a car commercial. Perhaps it's just that riff sounds a little generic, like I've heard it before. This is just one of the weaker tracks on here. I guess the other 3 are much punchier and bleed through with a lot more personality, I guess. As I said, Primary Colours don't necessarily change their sound, they cleaned it up and delivered some very consistently enjoyable indie rock songs and indie pop songs. I would hope to see them continue to take musical risks into the future, which I guess they do here, like on Gums or Symphony in G, the latter of which does have a very repetitive chord progression, but it's that groove, that momentum of the track that keeps things going. But as of right now, I'm still impressed, and Primary Colours haven't lost the potential, 7 out of 10.